Hello and welcome to No Man's Sky, everybody. This is ElanPaul here, and we're doing a little bit of an interesting video, a 101 video, if you will, a starter guide to No Man's Sky. Now, the first thing, of course, you're looking at is, well, you know what, this is very interesting, but you're standing there fully armored out in some of the latest gear from the Aquarius expedition, and you've got an interesting ship behind you that I'm pretty sure is not the Radiant Pillar. So what's going on? Why are we not starting a new game save or something like that in order to show you? Well, it's very simple. The reason why is no one's really sat here and just discussed with you exactly what it is about No Man's Sky that we need to be doing. What is it all about? What do I have what's my inventory? What is the multi-tool? What are these items I have? And what is the game really about? So let's discuss that. So the bottom line is, folks, is that No Man's Sky is an exploratory game. It's a game designed, it has a storyline, first of all. It does have a background storyline to it. But it is a game designed to entice the senses. It's to explore new realms and new places that you can go to. The beautiful scenery on such planets, and sometimes on harsh planets as well. Not all planets are going to be this beautiful. But some of the planets you go to are pretty darn harsh and hardened environments. Yes, you may not get all the armor. You may look at this and go, I don't like that look. I want something different. Fine, you can do that. But what it boils down to is you make this game what you want of it. There is a main storyline that is called, or as we refer to it as, the Artemis storyline. Now, as you start to play the game brand new, you're going to learn real quick that the game is trying to direct you on where to go, what to do, and how to use everything that you've got. Now, you have something in your inventory called a multi-tool that you're going to have. The multi-tool can be any number of different weapons. So right now it is called the Polygon Blaster, is the one I'm using right now, but let me switch over to a different weapon. We'll take a look at it. Yeah, let's just choose this one. This one is probably a damaged multi-tool. Yeah, very simple one. It's a nice one too. It's got the supercharged slots, but we'll get to that later. Your multi-tool comes with a couple of basic components, and one of them is this. It is the mining beam. You're going to have this standard. You'll get this later on. You're also going to have a scanner as well as an analysis visor. These are the three components you'll start out with on any multi-tool. The mining beam, as you might imagine, is, as it describes here, it is a high energy beam that allows you to pull in objects, minerals from around you. For instance, if I point this at certain plants, I happen to be in a spot where there are none at the moment, so that doesn't kind of help you any. Let's head over to the mainland over there and take a look. No, I'm not going to pause the game. I'm not going to do some kind of weird designed interlude to get you. I'm just going to show you exactly what's going on here. So on any particular planet, you're going to have rocks, you're going to have animals, you're going to have little plants over here, things that you can harvest and things that you can't, including crystals like these ones over here. So what do these things do for me? What are they for? Well, for instance, these little rocks over here, if you look closely at it, it tells you that it's an unidentified mineral, but it carries something called ferrite dust. Ferrite dust, as you might imagine, so as you were good on these things and the names of these things, that is good old-fashioned iron. You get it from the rocks around you. But not every rock is the same. Some of the rocks won't give you just ferrite dust. They'll give you other items. Using your mining laser, you can hit this unit until you absorb it. And as you can see at the top right corner, I just got 6 ferrite dust. The ferrite dust is one of the main building blocks of the game. There are also many plants on this planet. Like this one is not really a plant. It doesn't do anything. It's only when it comes up in your visor like this that it indicates it's a plant that you can do something with. For instance, this tree, unidentified again, is just a tree. But it gives me what? Carbon. Carbon is another main source of mineral that you need in your inventory in order to do certain things. For instance, I got 57 carbon from that, and if I look at my multi-tool, you'll see that in order to charge my mining beam, it tells me underneath it to charge the equipment with carbon, condensed carbon, or phosphorus. So carbon is a big building block in order to recharge certain pieces of equipment. Sometimes to build certain things, for instance, if I look over here, you have all kinds of different elements like condensed sodium nitrate, you have glass, you have, let's see here, magnetized ferrite, so you have a different version of ferrite. You also have cobalt. There are many different elements elements in this game that you can acquire in order to get them with your mining beam or with other devices. For instance, those crystals I mentioned before, right? These crystals are the condensed carbon we just spoke about. With a regular mining tool, I can get some of these smaller crystals, but if I don't have the right mining tool, I can't get the larger ones. For instance, this big one here, I can get this because I have something in my multi-tool called an advanced mining laser, which upgrades the tool. So if I take that out, as an example, I'll put it in my inventory here. See, doesn't work. I can't get the condensed carbon anymore. I can get the smaller ones, but not the big ones. See? But the big ones I can't get. So by upgrading your multi-tool, you can get more items. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that from my inventory one more time and put it back in here. There we go. And you can acquire those items. Now, condensed carbon, as you might imagine, is just what it says, condensed, and allows me to use that as in more efficient ways to recharge things. It's also used as a building block for building certain things. For instance, if I get a little closer to my base over here, I think this will be close enough. Yes, there we go. I can build flooring. What does it take? 10 carbon. With different types of flooring, though, you have to use different elements. Like this one takes silicon powder. This one will take ferrite dust, so you can use different building blocks. What is that? Building blocks? Yes, I can build my own bases, and I can create my own things. So there's another thing you can do with No Man's Sky, is you can build things. Yes, you can swim, as you can see, also in the waters, and check things out. I just got attacked by something, just ignore that. All right, and it has a beautiful environment, but as you can see, I built a nice dock over here. I built some landing pads that I can land my ships on. I'm fishing. This is not a fancy dock by any means. A lot of people build things that are way fancier than what I've done. But it gives you the ability to really explore every creative juice that you possibly have in your system. And, of course, not just on each planet, but think about it. There are at least 15 septillion stars out there, planets out there that you can visit. 15 septillion, and more than enough in one lifetime. Yes, there'll be duplicates from here to there. You will see similarities between one planet and another. But so we also see throughout our own galaxy as well. So there's a lot of exploration to do. So that is explaining part of our multi-tool, to come back to that. Another device in your multi-tool is called the scanner. This allows us, let me pull this out real quick so we can get rid of it. We'll do with one thing at a time here. This allows us to scan creatures. Now you'll notice that something's missing from the top. If I go to look at something, it tells me my analysis visor isn't there. But I can actually still take a look at certain items with my scanner that allows me to scan things. For instance, if I hit this button on my keyboard, in my case it's on my keyboard, I'll hit the C button. It scans and looks for elements that might be around me. Of course, being on an island in the middle of nowhere with nothing around me, well, there's not much that's going to go happening with that scanner. Let's go back to our other island over here, which actually has something on it. Guess I should have chose a better island, right? And you see our scanner's recharged now at the bottom right corner. If I do another scan, it'll tell me what items are out there. That item there is sodium. So we can get sodium-rich plants here. We have dihydrogen over here. It shows by the H. Those are crystals that we can harvest again with our mining beam. Dihydrogen is yet another crystal that we can get at any point in time. That's also one of the main building blocks. It's good to have a lot of that too. The sodium is a plant. And as you can see, if I try to harvest it with my mining beam, nothing happens. But you can walk up and you can just pick it up, just like a regular plant. You have hazardous plants. If I get too close to them, they can injure me, but they contain gassy pods on them. If I go ahead and pick that up, guess what I get? Oxygen. If I stay too close, there you go. You can be damaged by them. So there are hazards on this planet that can hurt you. Most of the animals you'll see on some planets will not harm you in any way and won't attack you in any way. As you can see, very interesting animals that you can get here. But there are animals on planets that can attack you, so you have to be careful of that. Alright, just wanted to show you that since we were there. These plants, even though we can harvest certain things on the plant, like the gassy pods once I point at it, you can also hit them with a laser and harvest the rest of it. There you go. Look at that. Pretty neat, huh? Alright, so you understand a little bit about mining beams. If you're unsure, just hit things with your mining beam until you see something happen. Your mining beam can overheat, so be careful with it. I need to recharge it. As you can see, it's actually running a little low right now. Where's my mining beam at? And I'm going to use condensed carbon. As you can see, 27 in opposition to 80. 2779. So 27, using 27 of that is actually a lot cheaper to use that than it is to use the 79, right? So now I got a fully charged laser. Excellent. Now, one of the other items I saw in there, or I was going to show you, is this thing here, the terrain manipulator, which you'll get later. The terrain manipulator, once I change from mining beam to terrain manipulator, allows you to dig holes. Look at that. You can harvest, and you get silicate powder as one of those ingredients. Remember that item that we needed? Now, the mining beam, the terrain manipulator has this ability to have different modes. By using my center mouse button, I can change to a creation button that allows me to actually create terrain and build up. You can see how that could be handy, right? You can also flatten terrain. So if this became too much, you can flatten it back out again, right? And you can gain sometimes even more by doing so. There's also another option to refill in the terrain you just destroyed, which, if you look at the top right, does not require any energy or materials to recharge your weapon with. It just fills it back in for you. And there, the terrain is completely repaired. Granted, there's no grass on it, but it is terrain repaired. And then you go back to being able to dig. So there you go. You can also increase and decrease the size of it using the T or the R. R makes it smaller, T makes it bigger. You can dig bigger holes with it. You can dig much smaller holes with it and be more precise with your holes that you're digging. You can't go into those holes, but the big ones, maybe you can. Maybe you need to tunnel into something. So, and I'm going to go ahead and do a repair because I don't like the way it looks. There we go. All repaired. Back to normal. There we go. So that is some of the many features of the terrain manipulator. Now the terrain manipulator, I don't have an analysis visor. When paired with your analysis visor, I'm going to go ahead and install that again. There it is. Put that back in here. With paired with the analysis visor, you see we got our direction at the top back again. We got north, south, east, west, that kind of stuff. And if you look through it, sometimes you can see special items through it. Like over here, we have an alluring specimen under the water. We've got some crystal sulfides down there and all kinds of items. We got an animal that's freaking out for some reason. Nobody knows why, and things like that. But sometimes there's elements, other elements that you can dig up. And we're going to show you that here in just a moment. Now, I don't want to make this video very long. It's already about 12 minutes long right now. I don't want to go too much further. So let me go ahead and do this. I'm going to pull my ship back in over here. Make it land in front of me. Again, I'm not going to show you the intricacies of doing so, of creating ships like this, or doing other things like that. We're just getting the basics done today. And I'm going to go to land someplace. And again, you know what? Let's do this. Let's go to a different planet. One that maybe isn't so hospitable. We have some paradise planets here, so there's a lot of different planets. I'm going to take a look around. I've got 5 planets in the system, and they're not all... See, that's the same planet, I believe. I got myself turned around. There's one, I think that is also a paradise planet. That keeps happening. Yes, I know. And you got a couple unhospitable ones on the other side of our world here. Let's go take a look. Inhospitable, I should say. There we go. Fiery planet. Let's check that out, really. So as you can see, it tells us what elements. It tells us that there's a plant there called selenium. We have copper on this planet, as well as phosphorus, magnetized ferrite, and also tells us that the sentinels on this planet, the enemies, if you will, are a little more populous. But they're not going to attack on sight, so that's good. Alright, back out of our ship. And we're going to go ahead and land on this planet. And you can do this in any system that you wish. So, we're going to see what happens when I get out. Bringing my ship in for a landing. Alright. Now, one thing you're going to notice is it says that this is a fiery planet on the left-hand side. And as it pops up, it's going to tell me that, look at that, it's getting hot. That the temperature is 123.4 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, I have a shield to protect me against that, and I'm going to charge that up. Now, if I look through my visor, you can see different plants that are here, buried items, including something like right here. We have phosphorus, right? Which I could use. So I'm going to go down to that spot right over here. Remember that terrain manipulator we were talking about? Well, something else that your terrain manipulator can do, which is what we're on right now, is, I'm going to choose a small mode, is you can harvest, if it'll show it to you. Ah, I was on restore. That's probably why. There we go. Is it'll harvest that mineral into your inventory. So sometimes the harvest that you're getting is not very clean. This one is actually pretty clean. You can see I'm getting a little bit of silicate powder, but I am pulling in some phosphorus. 20, 30, 40, a little bit more, and then it pulls in a little more phosphorus, or silicate powder, I should say, and then more phosphorus. So I'm getting these elements here right now. And there we go. And that's how this works. These elements come in handy to do certain things. For instance, if I want to recharge my shield, I can use phosphorus to do so, or I can use a battery. If I want to recharge my mining beam, for instance, let's switch out of this into my mining beam. There we go, mining beam. If I want to recharge that, as you can see, I can use carbon, condensed carbon, or I can use phosphorus. Again, different elements to do different items. Other items can be combined with other items to make new items, things along those lines. And again, if you see a plant, check it out, see if you can harvest it. Maybe you can get some more carbon from it. And each planet has its own grouping of elements. Like, for instance, there's copper up here. Copper is a very important item, especially early game. So there's some of the things you do with your multi-tool right there. So you have 3 items on your multi-tool that you get right away, and a 4th one that gets added on. You have your scanner, you have your mining beam, you have your analysis visor, which your analysis visor allows you to look at certain things and check them out. Like these birds right here, you can check them out and see what they're all about. And all the different animals that are on this planet. You can look at the plants and see what they have going on with them, like this one right here. It tells us that's plant life, and I can scan that plant. It tells me all about it. See? It adds it to my discovery services, if you will, so things that I've discovered along the way. You see plumes of fire in the distance that you can check out. It tells you that there's storms coming on the more inhospitable planets, if you will. So you've got all kinds of different things that your visor can do, pardon me, that your multi-tool can do. Analysis visor, the scanner mode, which allows you to scan for elements, like I just did again. Oxygen over there, more sodium. Let's see, the dihydrogen it will point out to us, and other different elements. So a very interesting tool to have, and every tool can be bigger or better as the one before. So as you saw before, let me go ahead and go back to my planet. We'll talk about it. The multi-tool that I'm using right now is kind of a simple multi-tool. Doesn't have a lot going on with it, but it allows me to do everything that I needed to do. I'm going to go back to my old planet over here. That's interesting. Lemley now has salvageable scrap. I did not realize it had that. Something I've learned that's new today, guys. So, yes. So there it is. This is my current planet that I'm at right now. I'm going to see if I can... Yeah, that's where I'm headed. Except I got ships in the way, so I got to get around them. Let's head over to my main base here. Not the base I was at earlier. There we go. And use your creative juices, folks. I'm really serious about that. You can have fun developing and building certain things. So as my base pops into existence here. Very nice. Very nice. So there's a lot going on. It's nighttime. There's a little bit of a fog going on up here, but that's okay. We got a cloud running through right now at the moment. So that multi-tool I had is a very simple one. You can get other multi-tools that are equally or more powerful than this one that you saw in my inventory right here. I have other main multi-tools here, including some very fancy ones like this one here. And you have different outfits you can try on, so if you don't like your appearance, you can modify your appearance at an appearance modifier, either on your base or in a space station, to allow you to change things out. So I don't think this one's saved. So I'm not going to save this one right now. I'm going to go ahead and hang on to it right now. But you can go in here and you can change your headpieces to different things. I can look like a bug. I can have a different type of helmet if I wish. That's actually pretty neat with this outfit right here. Might keep that because I think it's pretty cool. Anyway, and you can change the colors of the outfits, the markings on your helmets to make them look a little different. Let's go ahead and keep that. There we go. And now my whole appearance has changed. So that is pretty neat. Anyway, but that's basically in a nutshell. And your new multi-tool that I just showed you is the ability to do many different things. Like I have more inventory space in this one, inventory or slots, if you will, to allow me to have a better technology in this particular unit and to actually be a little bit more powerful. So if I switch over, it could be a gun. It can be a mining beam as usual. It can be that terrain manipulator we were talking about, and back to my gun again. So the only difference is on the mining beam, it actually opens the mouth a little bit and makes it look kind of neat when it does that. Looks familiar, doesn't it? Anyway, moving on. So that's it in a nutshell in regards to the multi-tools. You can get many different types, including staffs and stuff like that. Multi-tools are very handy. You can upgrade them, and obviously, as you saw in this one, you can put a lot more stuff into them. I do have other multi-tools that allow me to even upgrade even further than that. Like my main multi-tool that I got a long time ago, which is not shown. As you can see, I've got all kinds of different stuff in this multi-tool to allow me to achieve certain things. Like, for instance, I've got this neutron cannon here that's putting out a lot of power and a lot of damage. Interesting. So with the 4 slots that are on here, it's a different type of multi-tool and allows me to use like a shotgun style damage output. But I've got also the main laser, as well as the terrain manipulator. I've even got a fishing rod, and I've got something called the bolt caster that does also a heck of a lot of damage, as well as that pulse spitter you just saw. All depends on what you want to use, folks. So anyway, that is it in a nutshell in regards to the multi-tool. So you'll have the ability to put guns on it too to fight certain enemies. I do explain right now, if you would pay close attention to this, try not to fight anything if you can manage it early game. Until you have gotten used to the tool itself and how it aims and how it works, stay away from aggravating any type of creatures and trying to annoy the sentinels too much. You'll get into that later on in the storyline. So that main storyline, the Artemis storyline, is allowing you to not give you too many spoilers, to try to save a particular traveler just like yourself who got trapped, who is in desperate need of help. And that's the whole point behind this, is you're going to get to a point where you're going to either save them or not, as the case may be. It all comes to the same conclusion, so it's really not a really decision-based type thing, but you can choose different types of paths that you want to take in order to get there. And it is a very neat storyline to go through. So I do suggest going through the main storyline. It teaches you a lot about the game. After that, it's all exploration. And you can take a look at anything, go anywhere, do anything, go to any system, scour the planets, look for that perfect planet that you can put your base on, or not so perfect planet that you can put your base on. And that's basically what No Man's Sky is all about. So your first order of business is to understand your multi-tool, and I hope that we've given a good explanation as to what that's all about right now. Your multi-tool is just that. It's a tool that has multiple different types of items that you can put into them. Some are better than others. C class being the lowest, B's next, A's next, and then S class is your top of the line models. And that's what you try to achieve for, is get that S class model if you can. They can be expensive, but sometimes you run across them for free. So try to get your best multi-tool, the ones that you like the best, how they look, how they're designed, and how they function, all very important. Another time we'll talk about different aspects in regards to supercharged slots and things like that got introduced a couple years ago. But for now, that is the basic understanding of multi-tools and how they work, as well as what No Man's Sky is really all about. So I hope you've liked this video. If you do have questions or comments, please drop them down there. I know some of you don't really particularly care for this type of game. That's understandable. But if you do have questions about the game and how you'd like to do certain things, that's great. Maybe after all the expeditions are done and any updates have come out, we have some quiet time, maybe we can sit down and do a live stream and we'll go through exactly how to play No Man's Sky. I think that would be a great stream. So we'll think about that in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you very much for watching this, and we will see you again in some upcoming video. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.